Hi, thank you for clicking on the video. As you can see, we're jumping back into the Welcome to Derry universe today. If you enjoy, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notifications button so you know exactly when the videos is up and ready for viewing. As per usual, if you don't like spoilers, you should jump off of here, go watch Welcome to Derry, and then come back. If you don't care, we move on. Now, this is part one of 2 parts because I have more characters that I liked in Welcome to Derry than I disliked. So, here we are. I didn't want to make the videos too long. And I know they're like together combined with also the honorable mentions, it will just be way too long. So, I just broke it up into parts. Today, we're going to be talking about Charlotte and Dick. So, let's start with Charlotte because I loved Charlotte's character. She was so headstrong and, brave and just like bold, and confident. I loved it, and she she frustrated the heck out of Leroy, but it's interesting to me because I definitely feel like most likely the very thing that was frustrating Leroy about her is probably what drew him in to be interested in her in the first place, which is how confident and brave and strong she is, right? She's very strong-minded, she's very strong-willed, and she don't back down from a fight, okay? And so that is probably what drew him in, and that is what is giving him the biggest headache throughout the show, throughout at least the first 4 episodes, right? And so, well, technically 3, but it don't matter, But so she comes into town, and she don't really have much to do with herself because, her husband is off working, her son is off at school, and, he's got his new friends and stuff. She don't know it yet, but he's involved with trying to understand what is killing people around town. And so, they're off, and she don't have nothing to do. And then she finds out this black man is being falsely accused because she believes her son, right? Of course she would. Like, her son says that Ronnie's dad wouldn't do it, so Ronnie's dad wouldn't do it, But she goes to try and help him, and in fact, she's able to help him. I love the way she handles that police officer. I don't actually know what position he was. I'm just assuming he was a normal cop. But she handled his ass so well. Like, he really thought he was gonna play up in her face, and she was like, nah, cause my phone do a lot of walking if you really want to play them games. Like, I love that scene because he really was like, are you threatening me? She was like, it's not a threat, it's a promise, but like, let's do it. Like, she was not playing. And so she is able to get in and see Hank, and finds out that she actually can help him quite a bit, actually. And I think I mentioned this in the video where I talked about Hank, but I don't like how he tried to act all big and tough after she came through. Like, this woman came through and was like, hey, I know how we can help you. And now you want to start yelling and stuff? Boy, pipe down. Please stop. I wondered if she second guessed herself on helping him a little bit when she found out he was seeing a married white woman. She was like, a white woman? Her whole expression changed, but she was like, I digress. We move on. You ain't killed no kids. It's fine. You were just doing something you weren't supposed to do, but it is what it is, right? And so it leads her into, hey, I'm gonna use my activism knowledge to help this guy, which is frustrating for Hank, mind you. Not Hank, Leroy, mind you. The only reason Leroy knew about her going to the police station was because of Paulie snitching ass. I'm trying to understand why Paulie was even there. Why are you downtown? He was there. He was at this building looking like he was painting it. Like, I don't know exactly what was going on, but the guys around him looked like construction workers or some painters. And as far as I know, Paulie, you an airman. So what the hell you doing here painting walls? What are you doing here? Why are you even across the street from the police station? Like, there was no reason. I'm gonna assume like there's a deleted scene that explains why Paulie is there. Like, there has to be, because what the fuck is you doing? Like, it didn't look right to me, considering he's an Air Forceman. But you go and immediately snitch to this girl's husband. You butthole. And this boy come up in the house. She said, you ain't gotta worry about me. Yo, Leroy was heated. Leroy was so heated. Like, bro, who did I marry? You know exactly who you marry. You love that about her. That's the very thing he loved about her. It irritated him, but you know he loved it. And also, like, you know, I feel like one of the reasons why she went so hard with trying to help Hank is because they, like, Will, like, she's, don't get me wrong, she's closer to Will than Leroy is, because Leroy is always kind of off in his military duties. While she's at home, she's getting to learn him. He's growing around her, right? So, you know, for instance, when we first, you know, see them and Will goes to see his room, she told Leroy to get him the telescope. So she knows what Will like. She obviously, like most mothers, you know, she don't judge her son. She, you know, is accepting of what he wants to do in life. And if that's not be a military man, I think she was jumping for freaking joy, considering what she has to deal with her husband all the damn time as a military man, you know. But, you know, being able to be understanding and even talk sense into Leroy, because Leroy, like, he like, man, I don't understand why he want a telescope. Like, why he don't want a baseball? And she like, he ain't you. And he ain't. But, you know, you can definitely see both of them in Will. I'll get to that in the other video. But, yeah, she, even though she's more around Will, like, he also is like growing up and he's got his own life, and so she's just lonely, you know. And they don't help the situation, because while Leroy is always saying, well, I can't tell you nothing, it's secret, Will is like, I am embarrassed to tell you this stuff because I am a growing ass boy, you know. So I don't want to tell my mom that I have a crush, or tell my mom, you know, that someone's bullying me, especially an activist mom, you know. Like, the way they was looking at her when she stopped that bully earlier in episode 2, I believe, when she stopped them bullies from beating up on that little white boy. She did the right thing. Everybody was treating her like she was crazy and looking at her like she was crazy, but she did the right thing. And the saddest part about it is she's at home with the two people who should not be treating her like she's tripping, like she's crazy, and she's telling this story, and they also are looking at her like she's crazy. Like, they like, bro, well, it's not necessarily like she's crazy, but they're both like, you just gotta start, don't you? Like, why is it a problem that she wants to do what's right? Like, I don't see the issue here. And I understand Will being a kid, feeling that embarrassment of, oh, my mom's, you know, being a mom, you know. But Leroy should not have had that much pushback with her telling a story of, I stopped some bullies from jumping a kid. Like, and he's immediately like, you starting on your bullshit. Like, what do you mean? So you just want her to stand there like everybody else and just watch this boy get beat up by multiple kids? Ridiculous, you know. And also, like, this my thing, because I don't think that Charlotte had shot a gun at that last scene either, but she was doing much more throughout the series, you know. So I don't hold that against her. She probably didn't even know how to shoot a gun, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe, but you know, also she literally dropped her gun when she saw Leroy get hit with the deadlight. So I don't really blame Charlotte too much in that scene. I mainly look at Hank sideways. He literally didn't do jack. Like, he wasn't helping in the situation. She was at least like in the moments, in those final moments, she was trying to help him. And then like they kind of got caught up in this stuff with it, right? And so, you know, you can't really fault her for that. Hank didn't do shit. But hey, I digress. Okay. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about Charlotte. If I forgot something, I'll probably just have it be honorable mention in part 2. Let's move on to Dick Holleran. Now, if you thought Charlotte was one of my favorite characters, Dick Holleran is one of my freaking favorite characters. Okay, he and Rich, those two, they like really just shine in the show. Okay, and the way that Dick is so cocky when he first appears, okay, like he knows his gift and he knows it well. You know, he don't care. Like he don't care what anybody else is talking about. He know who he is. He got this, or so he thought, right? Like, but it's the way he walked around. So in that first episode, I don't think we get too much of him, just him, staring a little bit like at Leroy and stuff. But, in the second episode is where we really see like him, a little bit more of his personality. And that guy who plays him, I think his name is like Chris something. And he is really good with his facial expressions. Okay, like I loved how he was able to convey the emotions and like the story within his expressions. Like, I love when people can do that. Like, not every actor can give you that, especially not in today's time, and when I see someone who can like transition their expression really quick like that, oh my gosh. Like, I actually made a reel about this because there's a scene that he did, and there's also like a couple scenes with Will, the boy who played Will. Like, he also can do that pretty well. I'll talk more about that in the next video. But the scene in the bathroom when it is in his head trying to open the box, and he thinks that this is his grandfather, and he thinks that all the way up until it is counting down to open that box. That is when realization hits him, and he goes from being scared of his grandfather to being scared of this thing that he has no idea what it is, don't know how it got in his head, don't know how it found this box that he put up in his head, and that transition with, and he does that throughout the show. Like, he does that multiple times where he's able to like change his expression so quick, and I love that. It was so funny because, like I said, he was very cocky. He and his little buddies in the Air Force, they're at the bar, and his buddies is like complaining about having to get questioned. He was actually involved, so he's sitting there annoyed as hell. Like, I don't understand why y'all is even talking about this. Please shut the fuck up. Like, I was there, I know what happened, I know y'all wasn't there. But he wasn't gonna tell them that, obviously. And they end up getting kicked out because racism. And so, they go and they get some moonshine or whatever. They going back to base. This boy, he was like, tell them hollering down here. Then dude said, yeah, okay, whatever, you're a nobody, basically. not word for word, you know. And he got so frustrated. He was like, "This bitch," like. But then when the dude on the phone, and he like, "Oh yeah, Holleran is down here. Oh okay, well y'all free." And he was like, "Oh, are we?" Like, like he was so bold with it, and it's so bold that he really didn't care about rank if you pay attention. Because in episode 3, when they first have him go up, first and only time they have him go up in an airplane, but when they have him meeting Leroy and Paulie, he don't even salute them. Like, I'm pretty sure those two saluted the one dude, I can't remember his name right now, but he irritated me too, and then he saluted them back. Dick didn't salute them in that scene. He stood there like this. To be fair, he asked them, "How's it hanging?" If you know what that term is actually referring to, you understand why he probably shouldn't be asking his superior officers that question. Okay, salute and get on the fucking plane is how they felt about it. I think they both was like, "What the fuck is this nigga talking about?" Like, why would you ask this? The way they just ignored him, and they like, bro, he was getting dogged a little bit. They were dogging Nick a little bit because they didn't, like, he knows why he's special, but everybody don't know why you special, right? So everybody just see you as a asshole, really. Like, they don't understand why you walking around with your head cocked to the side like you big shit, but you understand it. But you have to take into account that everybody not gonna see you for what you are, and also, like, you don't need to act this way just because you have this special gift that the government probably wouldn't have known about if you wasn't using it for personal gain in, like, a way that was very fucking obvious. You know what I mean? Like, if you, like, apparently how they found out about his gift is because he was winning all of his card games or whatever. You knew that was gonna raise some suspicion. Why you ain't lose a hand here and there? Like, it didn't. Okay. But speaking of him being so cocky, like, he was very aware with what he could do with his gifts, and he didn't play when it came around to it. And I think that Tanya had him fucked up. Okay, so if you saw it, Tanya spit in his face, and I think because he did that, that is why Holleran was acting the way he was in his head. Now, when this episode first came out, there was a lot of debate on if that was actually Holleran or if it was it, and I always thought it was Holleran. I think we kind of get it confirmed that it was definitely 100% Holleran in episode 5 at the beginning. Like, they literally both come out of his brain and, well, his mind, and they're both very strained or whatever. And so I think that is confirmation enough that it was just Holleran. I think the reason why he was acting that way is because Tanya spit in his face. And so he's like, "Bro, I did not even pull you into this room. I am just doing what I'm told. But since you want to spit in my face, let me tap dance on your brain real quick." I think that's what it was, It was him just being, like, showing, I have the upper hand here. And look at you now. Like, ultimately, he's asking them to help him. Like, he didn't want to kill him, but he did show him, like, yeah, I could if I would. I don't think that was his goal. It was just the point of, I'm the dominant one here, and this is your head, and that's what you get for spitting on me. Like, that's what it felt like, And it goes into the same thing for when it was, like, when he was facing off with it in his mind, because he slapped the shit out of him. Also, I love that we all collectively only just view that as Dick Holleran slapping him. I feel kind of bad for the actor that actually did get the chance to slap him, because he gets no credit here. He literally don't get no credit for slapping Pennywise, and we credit it to Dick Holleran slapped him. And I think the reason why he did that to him is because of him messing with his mind and opening his box. He was like, oh, you got me fucked up too. Like, he slapped the shit out of him. And I think collectively we can all agree that that is an amazing moment and probably damn near everybody's favorite part. But yeah, so I have a little bit of a theory because I think there was also a discussion on if he was actually seeing his grandmother at any parts, or if it was always just Pennywise. And I think that the first time he saw his grandmother in the cistern was definitely not his actual grandmother, because he was actually in its head at the time. The second time in the woods, I think that might have actually been his grandmother. And then I think there's a third time that the third time is when Pennywise is in his head again. And I think that is just like a little scenario that it was creating, and I do not think that was his actual grandmother once again. So the reason I think that the second time was his actual grandmother is because he can see ghosts. He can see spirits. He just put them in the box, right? And when you're clairvoyant like that, let's say that his grandmother might have been in like one of his guys or something, right? So it's highly likely that in that moment with the woods, Pennywise was just digging through his brain to try and get information, and what was happening in the midst of it trying to get information in Dick's brain, his grandmother showed up as a warning, because literally what she says to him is, keep that lid on tight. That was definitely a warning. Also, a thing that I noticed across the Stephen King universes, when the people with the shine is using their gifts, there's usually a high-pitched noise. And in that moment, there was a high-pitched noise when he was standing in the woods, and seeing, when his grandmother was standing in the woods, technically. There was a high-pitched noise. In those other moments where he saw his grandmother, there was no high-pitched noise. So that's my little theory. I don't know. But yeah. Let's see. Oh, this is the last thing I want to say, because this video is already getting too long. So we'll probably have to have some other things be some honorable mentions. But I don't think Dick actually liked confrontation. Throughout the show, like we see him deal with confrontation. We see him stand up to the plate, okay? But I don't think he actually liked confrontation. Example 1. In the first episode, when they're in the room with Leroy, and it's a bigger commotion than it was supposed to be, Dick steps back. He was like, hold up, okay? And then we see that again when the white people, the lynch mob showed up, and he goes to the front like, hey, dude ain't here, get the fuck on. And Hank dumbass came out, so they knew he was there. And, guns get drawn. When his people drew the guns, he didn't draw one. He saw that and, stepped back a little bit and was like, But he still stood tall, because he like, I ain't gonna run. I ain't no little bitch, but guns. Like, and it's similar to when they were on the ice. Like, you could tell he not really used to fighting, because one thing I noticed is when he's going to punch the guy he gets his gun from, he like falls over while punching him. Like, so he got the strength to beat the ass, but he probably just ain't used to having to. Like, he usually probably just a big talker, or can manipulate someone's head by using his gifts, so he don't really have to. Mind you, in the book, he was just a cook, and I think that's what he was supposed to originally be before. So in this series, if you haven't seen my timeline theory, you should go and watch it. That's the very first video I ever put up on this channel. and it explains how I feel about this timeline, because I don't want to go deep into it. But you know, in this timeline he's being used by the government. In the original timeline he was just a cook, so that's probably what his role was. And when they get the black spot to begin with, like the smiling dude, he literally was like, oh, we can use this place, this back room, as a kitchen, and Holleran, you can throw down some grub for the fellas. He ain't talked to nobody else in that room. He was talking to Holleran about cooking. So I think he's just a cook and don't really like the confrontational parts of it. And you're probably like, but we saw like in his head there was memories of him being on the field. Yeah, cooks gotta get out there too. You still in the military. The fuck? Anyways, I'm gonna end this here because this video is already longer than I wanted it to be. But I hope you enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and tell me, what is your favorite character in It Welcome to Derry, and what's one of your favorite moments with that character? I'm probably gonna, I do have some other things I want to say about Holleran for sure. I think there's something I might have forgotten about Charlotte that I wanted to say, so I will probably put that in another video. But thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. And until next time, bye.